from Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. And here's your host, Laura Harris-Smith.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Harris-Smith. Welcome to The Three. We're so glad that you're joining us today. We've got so many shows this season that really touched the heart, the family. And I am happy today to invite you with your family. This is a show you can watch the whole family, bring the whole family in to watch. And so I really want you to think today about your family and your kids, your grandkids. What is it about the people that are most dear to you that you love and want to pour into? What about your legacy? What about the spiritual effect and positive effect that you have on their lives? What about their education? These are the things that we're going to talk about in today's show and how you can make an impact on your child and your grandchild's life one day at a time. I am joined by author Julie Lavender. She is the author of 365 Ways to Love Your Child. I love this subtitle, Turning Little Moments into Lasting Memories, and also Children's Bible Stories for Bedtime to Grow in Faith and Love. Julie, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I am so glad that you're here. You know, we're both homeschool moms.
Yes. Yes,
So
that's right.
You homeschooled your 4 kids.
I did.
I homeschooled my 6 kids. Can we just first stop and say, yay?
That's right.
We did it.
That's
we
right,
did
we
it.
did
Well,
it.
how many years did you homeschool? Total?
All the way, except for a few short 9 weeks that I thought when my 2 older ones were going to be in high school, I put them in a Christian school. We had just moved back home again, and I put them in a Christian school. We missed them so much, the other 2 kids and I, and I cried so many days, and the kids weren't as happy. We have many public school friends, but
Sure.
Nobody was happy. We were miserable, but I'm not a quitter. And so I said, I have to get them through the whole 9 weeks period so I can say, okay, well, here's the grades they made. They did okay. That's not why we pulled them out.
No.
So a short, very short 9 weeks, but other than that, it's
9 weeks.
all the way through.
So then what was the span? Like we homeschooled for 24 years. How many?
About 27,
Okay.
because I like to count preschool. So I don't know for sure.
That's
My
true.
kids are 3 years apart. 4
Ours
of them.
are too.
All 6.
All of them.
So
Yeah.
all 4 of ours are 3 years apart.
We must
so
have been
if I
on the
started,
same birthing and nursing schedule.
We were on
okay,
the
that's
same.
another show. Okay, go ahead.
Well, and so by the time I throw preschool in there, I think I was up
Okay.
to about 27 years.
Oh my gosh, then me too. That would probably.
That's right.
So
We have
here's
to add
what's
that.
interesting. We started homeschooling. I had a newborn. He was 5 days old. And people would say to me, okay, so I know what you do with the newborn, but what does Georgie, I think she was 3, what does Georgie do during school? And I said, shh, Georgie thinks she's in school.
That's right.
And we
That's
would
the
turn
best.
a laundry basket over in where everybody else was schooling and put little worksheets and coloring books. And so she probably felt like she was in school for 15 years.
Oh, that's right.
You know, because she just was kind of carried along in
Ours
the
too. They were
process.
always right there with us.
Wow. I don't know that I've ever
I-
known anyone who has homeschooled as long as me, except for one person who she honestly said she used to get questions like, is that legal? You know, she was like more about the 30-year mark. And she said she used to get asked if it was legal. So we've come a
and
long way.
I kept changing states because my husband was military at the time. So every time we changed states, I had to figure out the new procedures and to do the right things to get them accounted for and to do the things that I needed to do. So goodness gracious, I felt like I was starting it over every 2 or 3 years
I
when we
bet you
moved.
did.
So I wanted to jump through the right hoops. I wanted to do it the right way.
Was it Navy?
My husband was Navy, that's
I
right.
have Navy in my family, all the armed forces, but anyway, thank him for his service.
I certainly will.
I actually asked someone recently, a soldier, I said, how does it make you feel when people say thank you for your service? I just want to know, because I say it every time I
do
run
too.
into someone. Okay, you do too? And he said, I don't mind it, I just don't feel like I did enough. So it sometimes brings a little bit of guilt, like I don't know really, what did I do, you know? And this guy had been at a desk for a long time, and nonetheless, it all plays a part, and seriously,
And
thank him.
people will thank me when I show my
Yes,
ID for something like that.
yes.
And boy, I feel really guilty
Spouses-
about it.
oh, no.
I make sure I say, well, my husband served. And most of them are very kind, and they'll say, but you served too.
But wait, you just described having to transplant kids. I mean,
That's right.
homeschooling serves you well there, but still, there's so much to do, and the regulations are different. I know we're not here to talk about that, but state by state, homeschooling, it varies. But under your roof, it's always the same. It can always be the same.
And no matter what time of year we moved, our curriculum just kept going.
It just went right along with you.
And, you know, we lived outside of D.C. for just a year when my husband was in school. And we took so many field trips that we basically didn't do a lot of homeschooling in the home.
Yeah.
And so we had to go all the way through the summer to get caught up, to get everything done. But you know what? Those are the memories that we treasure the most, were all those homeschooling field trips into D.C. So.
I agree. I always felt like I fell short on field trips, and so every year I would say, okay, we're going to go this and such. But I had children who were on television, they were making commercials, they were on sets. So our field trips were. I needed to quit. I needed to like stop stressing out over we didn't, go to the Tennessee State Museum enough or whatever. I began to see in my children at a very early age, they were able to communicate with adults. They could go toe-to-toe in any conversation. They were around, actors, politicians, clergy. They all grew up to become communicators. It's really interesting in one way or another. All right. Don't get me started. I could go, I've done an episode.
I could talk forever.
I know, I love this topic.
Homeschooling.
But I wanted them to understand that these books really come from a place of authority that you have, but it's a loving authority. And so tell us about 365 ways to love your child.
I had collected all these ideas of things that I did with my children as they were growing up and while we were homeschooling, and we moved around so much. And when you do move to a new place, you know no one, and so you spend I feel like you spend maybe a little extra time with your family because you're trying to integrate them in church and friends. And so I just found a lot of ways to do things with them. And at the time I wasn't thinking, I'll write this in a book one day. But then after they got much older and I got to thinking about the fun things that we did with them that were not these big, huge, they didn't have to be monumental to be these memorable moments.
Yes.
And I thought, I'd like to put those in a book, and I'd like to make a collection of those. And so it's just from my heart. It's the things I did with the kids. And some of them are new ideas that I didn't do with the kids, but most of them are things I did with my own kids.
That's what I was talking about in my opener, that you want to have an impact on your legacy. It's one moment at a time. If you're going to affect their lives, it's going to happen on a Tuesday at 11 at a window of time, maybe even something you weren't expecting that was going to happen.
And those are the funnest. Those are the funnest moments.
Those are the ones that you just have to roll with the punches and they become a story.
That's
afterwards.
right.
We all have some of those. All right, turning little moments into lasting memories. Can you just pick one or two of your favorites in there before we go to break?
One of the things that helped me so much with this, because we did try to do a lot of things with our kids, and money was tight because I was a stay-at-home mom. One of the things we were able to do with a military discount, it took them to a park. It was probably Disney or some really, in other words, expensive park. And I used to love to play this game no matter what we did when we got back in the car. What was your favorite this? What was your favorite ride? What was your favorite thing we ate? What was your favorite thing that we did? Just again involved in conversation. Well, at that time, I don't remember how old the kids were, but my oldest said, after I asked him that, he said, jumping from bed to bed in the hotel.
Aww.
And that resonated with me. That just stuck with me because I was like, okay, well, we just spent a lot of money where we could have found 2 beds for you to jump between.
Right.
And the thing is, I let them jump on the beds at home. That wasn't that it was new, but they had these 2 beds. My husband and I got in on either side. We put pillows. We said, these are the alligators. This is the moat. We kept them from getting hurt. I said, watch out. You can't fall into the moat. But that was what they enjoyed the most. And it stuck with me that it's not always the big things. It's the little things.
It is the little things. Finally, we had to get a new mattress. Once we had, I think, grandchild number 4 came along, and you could see the indention in the bed, and my husband would play this game with the kids where it was called Trust Papa.
Oh, yeah?
And so my daughter had 6 kids in 6 years, so they were literally the twins, and then number 3, he was like the tardy triplet. So the 3 littles, like under 3, or 4 or 5 years old, and they'd stand on the foot of the bed, and Chris would stand back a ways and say,
"Oh my,
jump to me," and he wasn't like with his arms out there, and they would jump, but I mean, they'd wear out that spot on the end of the bed, like, and then they would take the plunge. So
what great memories.
It's those little tiny things. Oh yeah, now they're teenagers. It's those
know.
little tiny things that you remember. I'm gonna cry. All right, more after the break. We are here with author Julie Lavender. Don't go anywhere. Hi, I'm Laura Harris-Smith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. You know, if you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes when I'm reading a Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain. So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain. Hi everybody, welcome back to The3. I'm Laura. I'm here with author Julie Lavender, and in case you haven't noticed, probably you have, I bought this shirt just for you. Well, for me. No, I bought it for me to wear with you. I didn't own a lavender shirt, and then you show up in this beautiful. So, do you have like a million lavender shirts?
I have a lot. I do collect. And see, the irony is, my maiden name was Bland, B-L-A-N-D.
No way.
So I went from dull to colorful when I got married. At least that's what I say, and my husband loves that. But so I grew up loving the color purple when I was little, and yellow, purple and yellow. I went back and forth.
That's my daughter Georgie.
Always loved it.
So we are from sister imprints at Baker Publishing. So,
yes.
So they published this book. You're with Revel.
That's right.
And I'm with their other imprint, Chosen.
Right.
So we're kind of like. I don't know what you would call that. Sister imprints is the only word that I can think of, but we're
author sisters.
We are author sisters. There you go. So you have another book though that you wrote that was published by Penguin Random House.
That's right.
Okay, so I mentioned it at the top, but tell us what separates this book of children's Bible stories from others, because knowing you for the short amount of time that I have, it's going to be an interesting spin. Go ahead.
So I was able to secure this opportunity, this writing opportunity, and And part of the reason I got the job was because I told them I liked writing some of the lesser known stories.
Okay.
So,
That's
for
it.
example, in the story about Naaman with his leprosy, the story centers more on the servant girl.
The little girl.
The servant girl.
That's awesome.
And I also wrote about Rhoda when she let Peter in.
Peter in.
And, you know, I just always
Yeah.
imagine that story. You know, she runs to them and says, Peter's here, Peter's here. And they said, leave us alone, we're praying about Peter. You know, they just brush her away. And I also tried to spotlight some of the lesser known ones and some of the females, and then just to talk about kids. I mean, that was the main reason I wanted to talk about the servant girl. Naaman's wife's servant girl was to say, you know, you don't have to be a big person to do big things for God.
Yeah.
And the little girl is the one that, you know, led him there, and then eventually led him to the Lord because of his belief once he got there and was cured of his leprosy.
That's right. That's right. So many times God uses a child today too, but in Scripture. So you're saying that you tried to highlight some of the lesser known.
Some of the lesser known stories.
Like we
And-
talk about the major prophets and the minor prophets. If God put it in here,
That's right.
they all need to be celebrated.
And I was limited to
modeled.
52 stories, so I still had to tell, you know, the big ones. But I did have fun telling some of those. And there's a thread woven through from the very beginning. You know, it's not like we don't wait to meet Jesus at the beginning of the section with the
Yeah.
New Testament.
Yeah.
I try to weave the thread through of we always had a need for a Savior, even way
Wow.
back. And the thread runs through. And there's some humor in there too. So it's fun.
How long have you been writing? What's the first thing you ever wrote?
Oh, goodness. Way back when, well, the first things I wrote are not published for reasons, good reasons. But
That's all right.
I was a public school teacher, and I fell in love with children's literature. I had always liked children's books, but I just grew to just love them even more. But I did read a couple that weren't great, and I thought, oh, boy, it must be so easy to get published. Because if this children's book got published, this must just be so easy.
Okay.
Boy, was I wrong. And so I tried to jump into the market without even researching, doing anything that I should have. And so some of the children's books that I wrote and the things that I wrote then, they're not published for a good reason. But it was interesting because through that path, and then God showed me, well, you got to learn. And then he was like, right where you are. So then I started
That's
writing
true.
for Homeschooling Today.
Okay.
And I started writing for Parent Life
But
with
see, you had
Lifeway.
authority in that area, and it would just flow out of
That's
you.
right. And you know, he led me in that path, and I did a lot more Christian writing, because then that was going to be educational children's books, which still would have been fine, but it
Right.
was not Christian material. And I think he put the bug in my ear, but he's like, here's where I want you.
Yeah, yeah.
But here's where you are right now, because you're so in tune to your teaching that if
Right.
I speak to you in this and get you going,
True.
then here's where I'm going to lead you. So it's been a fun, cool path.
Well, you have a master's in early childhood education. You taught public school for 6 years before becoming a stay-at-home mom, and then you spent the next 27 homeschooling the kids. So are they all gone?
They are.
Are they? So then, are they married? What's going on now with them?
The oldest is an elementary school counselor in North Georgia and loves his work. The next child is married and has our only grandson, our only grandchild so far. He's 3. And then the next one is he works in finance in South Georgia. And then the baby is in grad school for a communications degree.
Wow.
So they're all out of the house. The son that works near us lives fairly close, but
Okay.
I still almost feel like it's an empty nest. That's been real hard for me. You know, when you homeschool, they're with you 24/7.
Yeah, right.
And then you're like, okay.
It's tough.
I
We made
didn't-
a whole video about it.
Yeah, I didn't know
about them
you were gonna
leaving
leave me.
home. Well, for all of my South Georgia family, I got to give a shout out to all of you down in Waycross and Blackshear and Patterson. And guess what? This gal right here is from Savannah, Georgia. She knows where all y'all live. It was crazy. I don't ever talk to anybody who knows where my family lives.
And the newest son-in-law is from Waycross, Georgia.
That is
So,
amazing.
Small world.
Heavens to Betsy. All right, after the break, we've got more to discuss. Please don't go anywhere. We're talking about your family today. Be right back.
Neuromatics Oil is a family of therapeutic-grade patented oil blends created by nutritionist and author Laura Harris Smith. Invented for her own lifelong journey for neurological health, Quiet Brain now helps those worldwide who suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety, seizures, tremors, and more. Quiet Brain contains oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, sandalwood, and others. Next, Happy Brain is a bright mood-lifting citrus blend and contains oils like lemon, lime, clementine, spearmint, and more. Users say it combats depression and even aids in weight loss. Next is Sharp Brain, Laura's Focus Blend, also used to improve cognitive memory issues with oils like coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and others. Each $69.95 bottle is a 10-week supply if used daily, or about $1 a day. And right now, buy 2 bottles and get the third one free, and get a free eye mask using the promo code on your screen at neuromaticsoil.com or at 1-855-784-3827. That's 1-855-QUIET-BRAIN.
I'm naturopathic Dr. Laura Harris Smith, and if you'll give me 10 days, Give It to God and Go to Bed can help you stress less, sleep better, and dream more. There are even links inside to my free 10 Days to Deeper Sleep and Dreams program and 10 Goodnight videos. Can you close your eyes and just still listen to me? The whole book takes place in your bedroom, and with chapter titles like The Junk Under Your Bed, The Treasures in Your Bedroom, and The Monsters in Your Closet. Give It to God and Go to Bed helps you learn to rest and hear God speak in dreams. Take back your sleep and dreams, my friend, with Give It to God and Go to Bed. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura Harris Smith. You're watching The Three. We're talking with author Julie Lavender. She's here with us today. We're talking about her 2 books. Now, do you have other books besides these?
I have some older ones. I have a homeschooling devotional that I wrote a while ago. That was fun.
Okay.
That was fun. And most of the others are teacher resource books.
Okay. So then you won actually a Guidepost magazine writing contest.
That was fun.
What was that?
That was one of the highlights of my career. They do that every other year, like in the even years.
Okay.
And I'm not sure when the next one is, I guess, maybe this coming year. And they, you can send in stories. You can send in as many stories as you want. They pick 12 winners. And I think there were like 4,000 entries the year I
that
entered.
ought to tell you
and
a
it
lot
just keeps
about
growing
these
and
books
growing.
She writes. Yeah, that's amazing.
Well, then they fly all the winners to New York for a week with the New York Guidepost editors, and they train us and kind of teach us some of the specifics about, because they have several different publications and devotional books, and their publishing is wide, and they just teach you all the things, the best ways to write for them, and it was a marvelous experience.
That's amazing.
I met some really neat people.
Did
the
you?
editors are marvelous. It was just a really good experience.
Somehow, I have wound up on Guideposts list as they quoted me one time from a book that I had written on seeing the voice of God, dreams and visions and that type thing. They wanted to quote me. They were doing it. They had interviewed all these New Age people, and so they wanted a Christian's perspective. Well, now I've become their hearing the voice of God expert. So they call me like, we need to do another article for another.
Great.
I'm like, okay, I'm their go-to on that. Isn't that funny though?
That's
like
fun.
that's not even. I was going to say it's not my wheelhouse, but it's my passion. I think every believer, it's their birthright to hear the voice of the Lord. So, yeah, I love Guideposts.
They're extra special because once you do something for them like that, you're part of the family.
I bet we know some of the same people.
I'm sure we do.
I bet that we do.
But you just kind of get to be part of their family. They really treat you like family, not just another writer, not just another author.
I'm going to put you on the spot just a little bit. Your children's education in the last couple of years has been quite a roller coaster ride. If you admit that, I think that we all would. Maybe it was your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren, but there were a lot of challenges that happened post-coronavirus, and our children really suffered. And we had more people homeschooling, some under duress, some overnight. The whole world was homeschooling, let's face it. I mean, I want you, if you can even, just in your camera, can you encourage some mom out there who may have thought, I think I can do this. I didn't think I could. It drove me a little crazy. We got in each other's hair a little bit, but I really loved the results of being with my child. What would you say to that mom or that dad?
One of the mentions in my book, the 365 ways, I've never wanted anybody to think that I've got one more thing on my plate. I've got to do one of these things a day. And so I always say, hey, I want you to use this book for more than 1 year. Well, it's kind of, and the reason I said that is because there are days sometimes that I think at the end of the day, we just feel like, okay, they're still alive.
Yeah.
We've got them fed, we got them dressed, and that's all I could do today. And I don't know if I told them I loved them. I don't know if I said anything nice to them. And that's when we have to give ourselves grace. And I feel that way about homeschooling, because the beauty of homeschooling is if you get really bogged down in one day, you just fill in the next day, or you work that Saturday, or you work a little longer in the summer. But the beauty of homeschooling is the relationships that you form and just the bond that you have that you will never, you'll always have that amazing bond. And so even as a school teacher, I felt like I just failed so miserably when I started homeschooling my children. But yet, you give yourself grace and mercy and you move on. My children are all successful adults now. And I look back and I think, I'm so glad I did that. And I do want to just encourage you to just pray a lot. Don't worry about the stuff you can't get to. It will all fall into place. And I know that sounds trite, and I don't mean for that to sound that way. But the best thing to do is not to stress, just to give it to God. They are your children. You're going to do what's best for them. And if that's homeschooling for you, then give yourself that grace and mercy and really enjoy every moment. Boy, we treasure every minute.
Oh, and they're your kids.
Homeschooling time.
They're your kids.
They're our kids.
Is the thing. And so I always knew I wasn't the best teacher, but I knew what their natural and supernatural bents were. I could see
different for each child
what they were becoming good at. Like I'm talking about the things they're now doing now for a living. And so they weren't on a bus and then at school and then home doing homework for 12 hours a day with no time to explore what God wanted them to do with their lives.
They could follow their
passions. So they were on a fast
passions.
track. I know. I'm really proud of that. And then when you start seeing your grandchildren homeschooled, when you see them educated, period, and you're thinking, okay, well, my kids turned out pretty well, you know. Well, we have 12 grandkids, and it's such a blessing, just that in and of itself, just seeing your legacy go full circle. Okay, so I think if I wanted to ask you anything else, I'm throwing you all these curveballs, but can I ask you a practical question about your homeschooling?
Yes.
Okay, did you guys have snow days?
Well, we actually did. If it ever snowed in any place we lived, you better believe we were canceling school to go play in the
my
snow.
kids are going to see this and think I'm awful. So we had one snow day in 24 years. I'm going to tell you real quickly about it. We'd never had them, and my kids would always say, well, our yard was the Metro bus stop.
Oh,
so they would see when all the kids were there.
And when they weren't.
And I'm like, aren't you glad you didn't have to get up at 6 o'clock? Or when they weren't. And so they asked me, why don't we ever get snow days? And I said, the day you see snow from your bedroom doors all the way down the stairs, you'll know it's a snow day. Well, so they were given the movie Snow Dogs by somebody at Christmas at my mom's house. And the next day, school day, we woke up and there was like this huge snowstorm and we saw schools were closed. So we decided, we got an extra bag of ice out there from that party and we spread it all the way, every door, going down to the kitchen table, all the way down, and we yelled at the base of the stairs, Snow Day!
Oh, how fun.
It was so fun. So my kids would have probably rather be homeschooled by you, because you had a lot of them.
Well,
we
got
one.
And we did fun things like if my husband was deployed and then he came home, then we might have to cancel school just to hang out with him.
Just to hang out.
So but then we might have to make it up that Saturday,
it.
though. We had a lot of Saturday school, too. So.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, guys. This, as she said before, this is one for every day. This is one for every week. 365, and we got 52 over here. Julie, thank you for coming today and for encouraging those people who just want to love on their kids and take it to the next level. You have given us some phenomenal tools to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure. I have enjoyed this so much.
Everybody, we'll see you next week on The Three. Bye-bye.